Hi, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of Not Aspirational. I'm your host, Hannah Aaron Brown. Happy Thursday. This is the last week that we're going live on a Thursday. Back to regularly scheduled programming next week. And I'm so excited. But I had to see us through this summer house stuff. Oh my God, now that it's over, I really feel like I was like constipated for like weeks and just took like a giant shit. And I'm sorry for those of you who don't like talking about poop, but like walk with me here. Like it just feels like it feels like I can breathe. It feels like I have my life back. I can't wait to get caught up on Love Island, as I've mentioned. Also, like Widow's Bay. Like, there's just so much going on that I'm so excited to soak up. Also, I have a book from the library that I've had for like 2 weeks. Have not even cracked it. I haven't cracked it hardly at all. And so I'm just excited to be able to mentally move on from this. Also, go Knicks. For all of my Knicks fans out there, I'm not a Knicks fan. I mean, respectfully, I'm not a Knicks fan. I could just really give a rat's rip about sports. But what an exciting time for all the Knicks fans. I'm so happy for y'all. I just think it's always so special when, especially in these unprecedented times, when there's something joyful going on in the world that like unites people and gets them excited and happy and out in the world being silly geese together. I think that's a really beautiful thing. And then I also always think about like the old people who are like, I haven't seen this team win like in a bajillion years, and they get all emotional. I just think that's very, very sweet. So go Knicks. Congratulations to all my Knicks fans out there. A couple of personal updates before we get into, we're going to do personal updates, a little bit of pop culture, and then of course Summer House. For me, summer is going well so far. I'm doing a lot of weighted walks and workout classes. I'm going to the farmer's market every weekend. I have some travel to the Midwest coming up that I'm really looking forward to. We're doing Kansas for the 4th with Jake's family, and then Chicago again, but to see my dad this time. And then I'm going to Lake Geneva with some friends. And so much TV going on this summer, like I just mentioned, meetings, like some fun creative professional stuff I have going on. And I'm going to Palm Springs for the Palm Springs Shorts Fest next weekend, which is very exciting. And I'm planning my birthday. So like I feel like this summer has really good vibes. And I believe I said this a few weeks ago, but it's nice to have a summer where I'm like actively choosing to get organized rather than using summer as an excuse to like fall off my game, which like I think if your journey this summer is very much like, let's sleep late, let's take it easy, I'm on island time, like I completely endorse that. I'm just happy to be in a place where like for me, I feel like I successfully checked in with myself at the beginning of the summer being like, no, what do I need right now? Like forget what you think you should be doing just because it's summer. Like what do you personally need? And ever since I had my Mentee B after I had food poisoning and watched the Martin Short documentary, I really feel like I've been kicked into gear when it comes to like what does the balance of being organized and then allowing flexibility for like play and creativity look like. So that's like a fun project I've been working on. Also, I'm coming off of one of the most abundant weekends in my LA life. I've lived here 8 years. It was 8 years a month ago. And it was just one of those weekends where like at the end of the weekend, I just was like crying in my car because I felt so grateful for just like things that I have going on, the people in my life, the roots that I've put down here. And I really think it's so important, like whenever you have that feeling to like really ground into it and embrace it and like close your eyes and breathe it in, because obviously life has ups and downs. But when you have that feeling where you're just like, things are abundant, things are good, really take the time to acknowledge it, because I think the universe hears that. I think gratitude is literally the spice of life. I think it's the key to happiness. But also I just think like everything in life is so temporary. So like we owe it to ourselves to really celebrate when things feel really like juicy and sexy and good. So here's the weekend I had. Friday day, I had a meeting with an industry colleague about a short film I was working on, which was very, very cool. And we met at this really cool cafe called Euro Cafe. And it was literally run by an Italian guy. There was like Italian radio playing. They like at one point like wheeled out a TV to play the World Cup. There were all these people. It was like on this little like hidden like cobblestone street. And we're like shooting the shit and we're talking about like movies and the industry and tarot cards and trauma dumping. And I had a cappuccino and it was delicious. And I drove home being like, that was a cool fucking morning. Then I go back to my work day, work ends, and Jake and I are like, let's just go to happy hour. So we walk around our neighborhood, go to happy hour, get a little buzzed. Then we go home and do what we call eat like a kid night, where we made a box of macaroni and cheese and some chicken tendies and we watched Widow's Bay and we went to bed. Okay, no notes, perfection. Saturday morning, I get up, I walk the dog with Jake. Then I go to a class at Training Mate, and like followed by brunch with a couple of friends. And can I just say, you might not be depressed. You might just need to go to a workout class with friends followed by brunch. Because when I tell you that elite combo of like workout class with friends followed by brunch where you just yap for like 2 hours on a Saturday morning, that is like drugs to me. Like I really think that combo and or a spray tan is the key to like staving off depression. It was a gorgeous morning. And then that night, no, then at like 1 o'clock, we had a friend's birthday party, one of Jake's friends, which was this like beautiful house party in the hills, really nice people, amazing food, good vibes. Then, by the way, I've said in the past, I don't want this to feel like a brag journal. And I fear that this segment is feeling a bit like a brag journal. But really, it's just, I just feel like I'm having a moment of pinch me that I just want to share with you guys. So then that night, we go to a friend's birthday dinner. And this was like a lot of ISU people, both like from during my time and before my time. Well, one of the fellow people who were invited to this birthday dinner, he went to ISU before my time. He's like, I just moved to LA from Chicago. I was like, I know your name, but I've never actually met you. Great to meet you. He's like, and my roommate, blah, 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 also just moved from Chicago. He's like, what, did he go to ISU with you? And I was like, holy shit, yes. I had no idea he moved to LA. And this is a friend where like, we always just pick up where we left off. Like we don't stay in touch, but whenever we see each other, it's like super fun and exciting. And we both just love geeking out about like acting and theater and life and woo woo. Like it's a great friendship. So I was so excited that he moved here. And I texted him, I was like, I'm with your roommate. Come meet up with us at this bar after this dinner. So he came, we had a really fun night out. So Sunday rolls around. I wake up, I'm hungover. We walk the dog. Then Jake and I go to the farmer's market, and we go to the farmer's market in our neighborhood. There's free fruit samples everywhere, juicy cold fruit samples, and they're like really giving me life. You know, when you're hungover and you have a piece of like fruit and it's like hydrating and sweet and cold, and you're just like, this is the best thing and I need it. I was just eating up all these samples, having the best time while I was hungover. It was like a functional hangover, you know what I mean, where you're like, I don't feel great, but like I'm not like bedridden. So then we knocked out our grocery shopping. We get ready to go to my friend's pool party. The pool party was so fucking fun. So much food, so much booze, really nice people. Oh, also at the farmer's market, I got this insanely good passion fruit key lime yogurt and a loaf of sourdough that blew my fucking mind, and so much good produce. And I was like, wowee, this is living. We go to this pool party, so many nice people. Like, I was just very inspired by everyone that I hung out with over the weekend. And there are so many times in my LA journey where I felt like insane imposter syndrome, where like people will be like, well, what do you do? And I feel like I need to like make a self-deprecating joke about like, hey, well, yeah, this is really original, but I'm an actor and a writer. Or like, well, my day job is this, but I moved here to do this. And this was like the first time where I really felt like solid and being like, I'm an actor, I'm a writer, this is my podcast. And like, I was just very proud of like, it was just a moment where I kind of felt like I was out of my body and in my body at the same time, where I felt very present having these conversations with people who I really respected and admired. But I also could like look down on myself and be like, hey, Hannah, like that's really cool. And like even 6 months ago, I didn't know that you would have been able to show up in that conversation that way. And so I just like wrapped up the weekend being so tired and like being like, holy shit, I need to drink water and have like a salad. But more importantly, I thought about like all the years that I lived here. And like Jake would be out of town shooting a movie, and I would be so lonely and depressed, like at home with like no one to hang out with and nothing to do. And like how beautiful and lucky that I'm at a point in my life after 8 years of living here where I feel like I have all these like great social groups that I can hang out with and really solid friendships and some career momentum that I'm really proud of. So I was just feeling really, really lucky. And then I was thinking about, okay, wait, hold on. I was thinking about like cultivating a social life, which I'll get back to in a second. But also, I'm going to interrupt the brag journal for a second to also let you know that I also had an insane meltdown about body image over the weekend. So like it was an abundant weekend on most counts, but I did have like a moment before my friend's birthday dinner where like I tried on a skirt from last summer and it was tighter than I remembered it, and I was so frustrated because I was like, I feel like I've been like really on top of my shit with like my workouts and blah, blah, blah. And I just like beat myself up, and I was like crying. Like it was pretty bad. And all that to say, like Summer is like such a triggering time for multiple reasons. And I do feel like I have this conversation with myself and on the pod like every year, but I do think it's worth diving into, honestly, on an annual basis, if not more often, because summer is like triggering for so many reasons. It's like it's triggering because you have, people on TikTok with six packs and bikinis like gallivanting around. You have people with a lot of money going to Europe. You have people on yachts or going on vacations or with like a really cute summer wardrobe or, I don't know. Like it's honestly like just a handful of months where it feels like people are flexing their bodies, their wealth, and their cool friend groups. And if you feel like you're lacking in any of those areas, you can feel really shitty about yourself and really behind. So over the weekend, I was feeling like really bad about my body. And I got through it. Like I was like, I had an outfit in my head that I tried to deviate from, and that was the tight skirt that I was like, I can't wear this. And I went back to the outfit that I had in my head, and I was like, I'm in too fragile of a place right now to deviate from, like, to try something experimental with an outfit. And it was such a bummer because I'd been looking forward to this birthday dinner for my friend for weeks. But I was like, I'm just going to wear the outfit that was in my head. I'm just going to, like, fake it till I make it. And I got there and I, like, just, like, was silent in the Uber trying to, like, get my shit together and, like, gear myself up to, like, be social and have fun. And then once I like sat down and like kind of grounded into the event, like settled in, I had like so much fun. So that's kind of my segue into saying that if you're feeling isolated or insecure or like weird this summer, just know that you're so not alone. And like I famously used to get depressed every summer. I would say last summer and this summer are the first two in memory that I was not depressed. But my biggest tip would be unsolicited advice, but my biggest tip would be if you're feeling kind of just like shitty right now about any of the above things I mentioned, body, career, money, friends, whatever, my biggest tip would just be to like say yes to things, including with others and yourself. Like I was saying, I'm like so tired right now, but I really believe that like we can sleep when we're dead, and like you won't make new friends or get out of this rut like if you don't change something, because like nothing will change unless something changes. So like go for a walk, which is obvious. Go for a weighted walk if you're like me and you want to be twinning and get a weighted vest. Or like if someone invites you somewhere, say yes. Like I said, like going to workout class and brunch with friends over the weekend was like really medicinal. And also like maybe like, yes, if someone asks you to go, then go. But also like don't be afraid to be the person who asks, who like, if you have a coworker that's fun, be like, hey, like I want to go to this thing this weekend. Would you want to go with me? Also, something that Jake and I want to do this summer, this is literally not an ad, I swear, but something that Jake and I want to do this summer is start using Airbnb experiences for like date ideas. Like obviously not every weekend because they can be kind of expensive, but like kind of to just like get us out of our usual routines of like walking to somewhere in our neighborhood and getting drunk, like doing something different, like a candle making class or like a paint and sip or like sailing. Like I think that can be a really great way to get out of your shell and to like just do an activity that feels different, and it can kind of leave you feeling like inspired and abundant. Go to the farmer's market, go to a wine shop and like ask the shop owner for advice on what to get. Like romanticize your life. If you like see something on Instagram about like a show, like an improv show that you think seems cool, or like a book signing, like just go, like RSVP and go. And again, if you're new to a city or if you're like looking to make new friends, because again, it took me like 8 years in LA to be like, wow, I have like a really good community here. I think just finding someone, shout out to my friend JD Barton, Dr. JD Barton, who's been on this podcast before. He, follow him on TikTok. He's amazing. I'll put his TikTok in the show notes, but he did a TikTok about how to make friends in adulthood that I thought was so well said. And he was like, the thing you need to make friends is repeated low stakes interactions, which is why we make a lot of friends in school, because you'll see someone in class like day in and day out. And then eventually like seeing someone in class is like, oh, do you want to like eat lunch together? And then like, oh, do you want to hang out after school? And then maybe you're like on a sports team together. It needs to be those like repeated low stakes interactions so that you can slowly get to know someone. And it takes the pressure off because you know you're going to see them again. So I think in adulthood, finding ways to have those repeated low stakes interactions, whether that's through work, whether that's through joining a club, I think that's the key to meeting new people and making new friends. Also, I looked at, going back to the Airbnb thing, I looked at events today in LA, and there was literally like things on Airbnb that like I wouldn't have even thought of. Like there was in LA, there was a hike with soccer fans and rescue dogs. And I was like, that's so fucking cool. Like it's the World Cup right now. You can pay like $25 to go on a hike with people and talk about soccer, like who are all fans of soccer with rescue dogs. Like, isn't that fucking cool? And then near my hometown, they had like a pizza crawl and they had like paddle boarding. And some of those things, like I said, were like as low as like $25. And so like in the vein of everything I was just saying, like I thinking about and reflecting on like how far my social life has come in LA over these 8 years, it's literally because even when I was scared and even when I was uncomfortable, I said yes to being the friend that went to the thing and didn't really know anyone except the friend that I went with. And like I said yes to a lot of different clubs, a lot of different invites. Like a couple of years ago, I went to a writer's workshop alone, and it was like the thing that got me back into writing. Like I think it's just taking the pressure off of ourselves and being willing to say yes. And like I met Jake because I was the friend of a friend at someone's barbecue. You know what I mean? Also, another thing I do when I like do say yes to those outings and I'm like in the mix where I'm meeting a bunch of new people at once, I truly give no fucks about my Instagram ratio. And if I meet someone cool, I will always be like, oh, like, what's your handle? I'd love to follow you on Instagram. And then I'll be like, no pressure to follow me back. No big deal. And then I'll usually message them the next day being like, oh my God, I had so much fun talking to you. Like, I hope we get to hang out again. And like, if something comes of that, then fine. Like if it's mutual enough that we want to plan something, then great. And if not, it's like you just met a cool person, you had a nice interaction. It's no big deal. So like, I think being the one to be like, let's connect, let's stay in touch is a very cool, like sexy energy. And I think it's a great way to like make new relationships. Also, drink every time I say also. Remember that like when it comes to summer, being outside might not be your thing. And I think that's another thing that used to make me feel really isolated and shitty in the summer. Like I am at a point now in my life where I love going for walks and I love going to the pool. But like most of my life up until this point was like staying inside in the air conditioning, wanting to watch movies, not wanting to be bothered with all of the like noise and like, I don't know, feelings that surrounded summer for me. Like I kind of just wanted to cocoon up and like disassociate from everything going on because I felt like every time I left my house, I was just seeing like hot people, like hot rich people have fun. And I didn't feel like I was a part of that. Long-winded way of saying if being inside in the AC in cozy clothes is how you want to spend your summer, that is totally fine. And with that said, I think it could be really fun if you need an idea of like something to do this summer, go on like Discord or like TikTok and look up like movie clubs in your area because there are a lot of like cinema clubs, like clubs where you can like go see a movie or like do movie trivia, like indoor activities, just for people who want to be inside during the summer, you know? And then the last thing I'll say, going all the way back to my body meltdown, is it really fucking sucked. A couple things that I tried to remind myself this week, like coming out of it, were one, that shit's always temporary, especially as women. Like we know, like with our cycles, with the moon, with the direction of the wind, our bodies and how we feel about them can change so quickly. So wallowing in it is just like unfair and not useful. But also I was like, I can give myself non-body related compliments. And I was like, damn, I really like how my skin looks. And you know why? Because I've been prioritizing eating healthier and drinking water. Oh, I'm having a good hair day. Or like, I love this outfit. Or I like my manicure. I think giving ourselves non-body related wins and saying nice things about ourselves that have nothing to do with what our bodies are doing is so, so important. And it's a practice that I'm going to try and implement this summer and moving forward. So I wanted to invite you to join me. Other pop culture stuff. Okay, speaking of body stuff, holy shit. I'm a long-standing fan of J. Crew, but I saw the new J. Crew campaign within the last couple of weeks, and when I tell you it pissed me off so much, I was like, is it 1995? And I love Olympia, what's her name, who's the creative director there, but I was so fucking disappointed in this campaign. It was literally, it reminded me of when Taylor Swift used to post the 4th of July photos with like the Hadids and Zendaya and all the like hot, or Blake Lively, all of her hot like celebrity friends, and be like, happy 4th. And it was just a bunch of like gorgeous, rich, famous, thin women. And you're like, cool, I guess I'll go fuck myself. That's what this J. Crew campaign made me feel like. It's this like camp campaign. It's like, welcome to Camp J. Crew. And it's all these super hot models just being like, I'm doing archery, I'm canoeing, I'm in a little bikini. And it was just like, it felt so dated. And it felt like an active fuck you to diversity of all kinds, honestly, like racial diversity, body diversity. Like it was, for the most part, size 00 white people with like one size 00 black model. And I was just like, what fucking year is it, J. Crew, that this is the shit we're putting out there? Like it was so disappointing to me. And it felt like such a big middle finger to like the progress that I hope, call me naive, that we're trying to make as a society around beauty standards, especially, I'm going to say this, in an Ozempic riddled world right now. That imagery was like doubly triggering, where it was like, wow, so many of you really are committed to going backwards. And that is such a fucking shame, because people are getting sick before our very eyes on a mass scale. And it's triggering and it's upsetting and it's disappointing. And I would hope that a brand like J. Crew, that very much stands for like Americana and like the American dream, and like is, yes, expensive, but like accessible. Like it's not a full blown like designer, like fashion house. I would hope that they could be better, and it was disappointing. So J. Crew, you're on my list right now. Also, The Real Housewives of New York season 16 cast has been announced. Returning, we have Saida Silva, Erin Lichi, and Jessel Tank. I'm so sick of Erin Lichi being pushed upon me, and I know I say this like once a week, but like she reminds me of all the moms in Highland Park I grew up with. Like very hot, very gorgeous, very kind of like bitchy and scary, but you really want her approval, and her politics are fucking crazy. I'm like, I just don't like, I'm excited for Jessel. I don't really feel anything for Sai, and I definitely do not like Erin Lichi. Then we have new full-time housewives, Haley Glassman, who's a publicist, Erica Hammond, who's this like stunning fitness mogul, and then Daisy Toy, who's a celebrity makeup artist. And then for Friends of, we have Carol Radziwill and Devin Simone, who's a TV personality, podcast host, and professional matchmaker. I will say, with all those jobs, it was giving like Barbie Dreamhouse. Like I feel like they have all the like chicest jobs from like that you would see in like a 90s rom-com, like professional matchmaker, publicist, fitness mogul, and celebrity makeup artist. I was like, I'm interested. Like I'm interested in these new women. I'm excited to see Jessel again. Like I said, Carol, I feel like seems like kind of a forced ad. Like I was an OG fan of Carol, like back when she was on the show, but I am interested to see like if she fits in with these women. And I was talking to some girlfriends about this, but my concern is that she's going to kind of, I don't know, like pull like a, for lack of a better term, like a Jenna Lyons, where it's like, I'm in the zeitgeist again, but like I don't really want to get in the mix. Like I don't really want to get messy, get in the mud, get in the weeds with these people. I'm kind of above this. Like I don't need this, so I'm going to act above it. So I hope, that said, like I hope that Carol, in a Bethany Frankel free version of Roni, feels confident and like she can take up space and get in the mix, even as a friend of. And then if she does well as a friend of and like likes it, then hopefully she can be bumped up to full time, because I really liked her as a housewife, and I hated who she became when she was friends with Bethany, and their falling out haunts me to this fucking day. Sarah Pigeon was spotted out in Brooklyn with Joe Alwyn. Hot. Excited to see where that goes. I mean, honestly, that's a lie. I don't really care about Joe Alwyn, to be honest. I think he's kind of a nothing burger. Like, I'm sure he's a good actor, but like, I don't really care who he's dating. But Sarah Pigeon, something about that girl. She's being teed up to be the next it girl. So I am interested in her whereabouts, what she's doing, who she's dating, what she's wearing, etc. So I was like, okay, we'll see where this goes. Also, this is not pop culture. This is just something I saw on TikTok that I unfortunately could not sit in by myself. I woke up the other day, grabbed my phone first thing. I know we're not supposed to do it, but like I do it anyway almost every day. I saw a TikTok that was like, I heard a loud boom upstairs and I opened the door and this is what I saw. And it was like, you see a closed door in someone's hallway and they open it and there is a giant, thick, like black eel-like creature that's like a snake wriggling back and forth, and then it full speed ahead runs towards the door and she screams and slams it. And I was disturbed, and it was one of those things where like, you know, when you're so disturbed by something that you have to watch it like 80 times, like your brain is like, what did I just see? And like everyone in the comments was like, that is the devil. Like the devil is in your house. And this person like allegedly like lived in Florida, and I was so freaked out. And I was looking in the comments and I was like, what is this? Apparently it's something called an Amphiuma. An Amphiuma. I was like, absolutely not. And it's basically an eel-like creature that does bite, that has these tiny little feet. Like it's like think like an eel with feet that can run really fucking fast. So this is a combination of like multiple scary creatures. You have like a snake and an eel. I don't like anything that goes like this. I don't really fuck with an amphibian or a reptile. They're amphibians, Amphiuma. It's an amphibian. But then they have these tiny feet so they can scurry while they slither. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? And then I watched a follow-up video. Mind you, I think Jake's still asleep as I'm watching this. I watched a follow-up video where she's like, okay, I'm just going to try and see where it is. I close the door and I'm going to see where it is. And she goes in and she looks under a curtain and it runs out towards the camera. And I'm watching this next to Jake and I go, I jump. And Jake's like, Jesus Christ, honey. Like, what is that? What just happened? Like, he had no idea what I just saw. And it was because the Amphiuma ran towards the camera. And I was like, I'm never fucking going to Florida again. I don't give a fuck if Disney World is there, okay? I'm not going to Florida. When I tell you it was so disturbing, if anyone knows about Amphiumas, please advise. Ugh, like, I literally feel like a chill up my spine even talking about it. It was the scariest shit I've ever seen. And then I was thinking, like, what would I do with it? And then I was Googling, like, do they bite? How do you get rid of them? I was like, what is this girl going to do? I think I would call animal control and be like, this is someone else's fucking problem. I'm not touching this thing. And I'm putting a towel under the door and a professional can get in there and get that shit out of my fucking house. And then what if it escapes? I would just I don't think I would burn my house to the ground. I'm not fucking kidding. I would have to leave all my worldly possessions, because what if you're like, oh, I better get that photo album in the basement, and then it's under there and it scurries towards you. Like, I was spiraling about this, and then I Googled more about them. Sorry, I have been talking about this for 5 minutes, but it actually is that serious. Then I started to Google it, and apparently they can squeeze through drains. Alex Mack style. Squeeze through drains and get into your house. And I said, fuck no. Fuck no. Last thing I'm going to say before I get into Summer House, I swear. How long am I going for? Oh my God, I'm almost a half hour in. Okay. Last thing I'm going to say, I'm going to very briefly touch on Love Island. I'm only like about to start episode 6. So here's my headline thoughts. First of all, it's very funny to me that on TikTok, everyone's making fun of how Ariana says Beatriz. And everyone's making her say it like Miranda sings. They're like, Beatriz, Beatriz. And I think it's very funny. Speaking of which, Beatriz is a star. I love her. I think she's like very hot, very impressive. She's a para-Olympian, and her and Gabe are very sexy. I hope they're still together at whatever episode they're on now, like 14 or 15 or whatever the fuck. She's very funny. I also love Trinity. As far as couples go, my favorite couple is Casey and Anaya. I will say in episode 1, when no one was behind Casey's door, I said, excuse me, ladies, I need to have a word with all of you, because from the minute I saw Casey, I thought that man is so fucking hot. He's so husbandly. Like, he feels ready to actually meet his person and like settle down. And I really love him and Anaya together. And I just, in my heart of hearts, Casey, do not disappoint me. I don't see him doing anything shady at Casa Amor, and I'm rooting for those two. Kata is absolutely stunning. Remember that when the little girl in the holiday says to Cameron Diaz, you look like my Barbie. You look like my Barbie. That's what I was thinking. I was like, she looks like a Barbie. She's gorgeous. Zach is kind of a dud, though. I'm like, Kata, you can do better. But she seems excited about him, which is really all that matters. And then the last thing I'm going to say is Gabe. That man, I said this on my Instagram story. I will repeat it. That man can ruin my credit anytime he wants. Anytime he wants. Gabe, you want my social? Here you go. Gabe, you want a lock of my hair? There you go. Gabe, you want, I don't know. Like, whoo-wee, that is an attractive man. That's all I'll say. And him and Beatriz are very hot together. And I hope they're still together, too, at this point in the show. Now let's get into Summer House news. Okay. First of all, going into the aftermath, we saw on social that Lindsay Hubbard was mad at West. She posted a few things on X. She said, first thing she said was, couple of tings. Lindsay, I don't know if you're allowed to say tings, but okay. Couple of tings. 1, West Wilson, you are trash. Trying to get people to not watch our show that I brought you on. You should move immediately. 2, I haven't seen Tuesday's Aftermath episode, but I feel in my bones it is good. Even though we know some people didn't listen, still good. 3, ITC in the city is just heating up. We are halfway, and holy shit, what a roller coaster of a season. 4, our ITC reunion was so good. We might have 2 parts. Smiling, covering mouth emoji. 5, I'm on Carl's podcast on Tuesday. Sunglasses emoji. Sleep well, team. Well, the next day, Mama Hubhouse had more to say. She said, good morning. Hope everyone slept well last night. I know I did. Woke up with some more thoughts if anyone cares. 1, maybe Wes Wilson should go on his podcast and publicly apologize to me for using my daughter as clickbait and a decoy to distract from his secret relationship with Amanda instead of talking shit about the show he was so fortunate for me to put him on. 2, West has tried to threaten my career/show now 3 times, and it's quite frankly disgusting. No other word to describe it. First, when he went on a podcast after I had Gemma and told everyone there's, quote, no way I could come back to SH. We should have known then. He's not smart, but here we are. Then, with his diabolical decision-making skills to manipulate Amanda into dating him and threaten the status of our friend group and future of the show. And now, trying to get people not to watch Tuesday's episode that he participated in, by the way. So that's the kind of dude he is, ... in case anyone still had questions. And then she says, I'm on an airplane at the moment. Otherwise, I would post a video. But I say West manipulated Amanda because he is the one who initiated this fuckery. He is the one who said, hey, is it me or like, do we like each other? Or whatever the fuck his hot dog smelling ass said. Whoa. That's brutal, you guys. If someone said I smell like a hot dog, I would actually not be able to go on. Moving on. Yes, Amanda is a grown-ass woman and makes her own big girl decisions. And yes, she needs to deal with those big girl consequences. You will see that convo between me and her in tomorrow's Aftermath episode. Meanwhile, West is still out with other girls and still talking to his other girlfriends like a true F-boy. Whoo-wee. So Hub House was activated. And apparently, now, so there's a rumor going around that like what she was responding to was that he allegedly tried to get her, Kyle, and Carl fired. Oh! The audacity of Wes Wilson knows no fucking bounds, let me tell you. I cannot imagine doing anything he does, but we do forget that Lindsay Hubbard brought him onto the show. And then it's like, you're trying to get the founding fathers of the show that gave you a platform fired. What do you think you're going to have left? Like, genuinely asking. Like, it does feel like In the City was an organic vehicle for Bravo to be like, there is no world in which Lindsay Hubbard and Kyle Cook are not going to be on TV. Carl Radke, I assumed they would find a place for Carl one way or another. There's no world in which Bravo didn't want them on their network, which is why they went so far as to build a show around them so that even if they weren't in a phase in their lives anymore where they were partying in a summer house, they could still have a storyline and we could continue to follow them. So like, West, are you fucking stupid? Your Ozarks show your MAGA Ozarks show that no one fucking wanted is already tanked and like a thing of the past. So like who do you fucking think you are? Then I agree with the fact that he said there's no way Lindsay could come back to Summer House because she had a baby was shitty then. It's shitty now. And he said on his podcast that he hoped the Knicks lost so that it would overshadow Summer House, The Aftermath, airing on Tuesday. And he was asked about this on his podcast, and he said he probably would have thought the same thing and like told his friends personally, but he wouldn't have like said it on his podcast. Like he would have kept it to like his personal people. By the way, West's podcast is so fucking annoying. And like that leads me to my next point, which is that allegedly West Wilson was not asked back to Summer House. And I'm like, well, that's what fucking happens, West, when you save everything you have to say for your own podcast that you are profiting off of with Sophie Cunningham. And like, I tried to listen to it as research for this podcast, but I was like, I actually like physically find it unlistenable. Like, I think that they are both so fucking unlikable and annoying. Like, it's like Sophie Cunningham being like, so you like never were fucking dating. And like, when was she gonna understand that like you didn't want to fucking date her? Like the pick me to end all pick me's. And then West like talking shit, making jokes, poking fun, making light of the whole situation, saying all these shitty things about his castmates and the show and Bravo. I was just like, yeah, you should fucking get fired. And then we'll get into it. But in the aftermath, he's still 20 days after the reunion, did not finish the season. I was just like, you are horrible at your job. You're not fun to watch anymore. And like, that's how it fucking goes. That's what fucking happens. So it really does feel like West is just kind of, I don't know, in like a downward spiral. Like, I assume he'll still have his podcast. I assume he'll still do like sports commentating or whatever. I don't know. Like, I guess there's like a maybe like a community of incels that can look at someone like West Wilson and be like, he's the man, and like want to hear what he has to say about sports. But I just like, I really don't get it. I don't know where we go from here. And obviously Amanda like has enough family money that it doesn't really matter where she goes from here because she's allergic to, like I said, like work or effort or ambition. But who the fuck knows? I'm not going to miss either of them on the show. Like, I'm not having fun with them. Like, at this point, I don't even want to watch them get dragged. Like, I'm so bored. I will say, like, at this point, Summer House feels like when you go on a vacation for a week and all you do is like eat beige fried food and like binge drink alcohol every day. And by the time you get home, you're like, for the love of fucking God, if I don't have 2 huge cups of lemon water and a smoothie and a salad, like, and take a nap, I'm going to cease to exist. Like, that's how I feel about Summer House. Like, these last 4 months have just felt like me binge drinking and binge eating fried food. And now I'm just like, I need to go on a cleanse. Like, I'm exhausted. So with that, let's get into Summer House, the aftermath. So we started with Amanda and Lindsay's conversation on May 13th. And I will say, like, Amanda came into the conversation with Lindsay, like, relatively zen in her, like, athleisure, like, her big hoodie and her, like, neutral colored leggings and her Solomons. And you know that even though she was just wearing a hoodie and leggings and, like, socks and a white tee, it was, like, the most expensive version of all those things. Like, Amanda has such resting rich face that, like, really triggers me. I do have a question for Lindsay and Amanda. And you know I love Lindsay, my Leo sister, but did either of them do their hair for this? It felt like Lindsay's was curled from the day before based on the back, but then it was like she had just brushed it out. And like, as someone with wavy curly hair, you can't just brush it out and not do anything to it. It will get frizzy. And that was unfortunate to see. And then Amanda, I always just question when the last time she washed her hair was. And those floppy air quote bangs that she's rocking were just like stuck to her forehead. And I had questions. Amanda still has not watched the episodes. Lazy, lazy, lazy was a note I made in all caps. And she claims she couldn't watch them because she's still off the internet and she's like trying to stay away from it all to protect her mental health. And like basically the headline of her conversation with Lindsay was that like she still could not face her own actions. And I appreciated when Lindsay went full like mama mode and was like, you and Wes made a very adult decision and now you have to deal with the very adult consequences that come with that. And you can't go around it and you can't go over it and you have to go through it. And Amanda's like, I am going through it. But she immediately blames Kyle and how damaging their relationship was for all of this. Like, she's like, I didn't feel like myself and I just wanted to feel young and fun. And like, I was in my 20s again. And she was like, I confused falling in love with myself again as like me having feelings for West. And I just want to like take a moment to point out the like, I want to feel like I'm in my 20s again. Babe, you're not in your 20s. You're like 35. Like, you're not in your 20s. And I get it. Like, I understand there's a level of grief that comes with feeling like I wasted my 20s in this toxic relationship. Like, and this fear, like, did I waste my best years with this person who like cheated on me and was never going to fully like love me back? And I get that, but the answer is not your best friend's ex. And the answer, I would argue, is not even getting into a relationship right away. Like, have some alone time. Like, if you want to go on dates, this was something that always bothered me when I was single, is people would be like, just concentrate on yourself. And it's like, that doesn't mean you have to be a monk. Like, go on dates, sleep with people, have fun, just like anyone else. So I thought like Lindsay did a good job of kind of holding Amanda accountable. They showed all these pictures of Amanda from her own socials, like right around when her and Wes started hooking up, and she just looked like so smug and like she was feeling herself. And she talks about how happy she was. And I'm like, I just don't get how you can be that happy and be that smug and be feeling yourself that much when you know that you're actively fucking over your best friend. Like, I don't get that. And then Amanda's like, he pursued me. Like, I didn't go for him. So again, headline is she's incapable of taking any sort of responsibility for any of this. Like, if it's not West's fault, it's Kyle's fault for making her so sad that like she was so depressed that she had no other choice but to go for West, and he was pursuing her and she didn't do anything. Like, and then we find out that West said that she was obsessed with him and it wasn't him pursuing her, it was her pursuing him. And Lindsay was like, you know, he told Sierra that she was obsessed with him, and like neither of them can take responsibility. Even 20 something days after the reunion, they're still like, it's like the Spider-Man meme. I think I said that last week, but they're just like pointing at each other being like, ooh. And allegedly it all started because it was him, like West, inviting the entire group to watch like sports games together. And she claims that the day Sierra saw her at his apartment on January 17th, it was just because she was over there like with a group watching a game, like having pizza. And then she said after the joint announcement with Kyle, West invited her out a ton to like get her out and like help make her, you know, feel good, like post breakup. And she said when he brought up feelings, like a door opened for her. And Lindsay's like, so he manipulated you. And she's like, those are my words. I'm happy to own them. But like, this is what he does to all these girls. And Amanda just keeps saying that it was like nothing physical and just conversations. And again, it's just like this whole time, I just like left this episode feeling just as frustrated as I did during the reunion, honestly, because it was like just her trying to minimize everything. And it was Wes doing the same thing. It was just them minimizing like how it happened, why it happened, their roles in it. Like it was just exhausting to watch. And she acts like she was just very confused by like how this could happen. And Lindsay's like, then why didn't you shut it down? And she's like, I just want to feel good and cared for and wanted for the first time. And Lindsay's like, but so many people care about you. And she's like, I want to feel cared for by a guy. And Lindsay's like, a man with a little wee-wee. And she asks Amanda what her biggest takeaway was from the reunion. And she's like, I mean, I don't remember much. I just like disassociate when I get yelled at because of my marriage. Like that's like a lot of how I got through my marriage. And she cries over how she wanted to have a future with Kyle. And she like crashed out when she realized that wasn't going to happen. And again, like making excuses for like she can't answer to what her takeaway was from the reunion because she like just doesn't remember. And I'm just like, what in the like Sherry Papini hell is going on? Like I've watched enough true crime documentaries where like I know a whiny white woman making up lies when I see one. And like, I'm sorry to compare Amanda to like Sherry Papini or like a true crime gal of that ilk, but like, I just think the way that she, or honestly, like talk about Love Trapped, like Laura Owens, it's like the way that these entitled white women can twist a narrative and just like matrix their way away from any sort of real responsibility and accountability is so sinister to me. Like it's so crazy because again, we had another 25 fucking minutes of Lindsay Hubbard asking honest questions, holding like Amanda accountable, like really putting her feet to the fire and giving her the chance to be honest. And like, again, it's like, I just don't think we really got anything out of this. Like it really pissed me off. And then I also want to say like PSA, if you're single and you feel this like off the charts sexual chemistry with someone where you're like, are they my person? I'm here to tell you they're probably not. Like I'm here to tell you that that's probably a trauma response. That's probably pheromones. That's probably a million other psychological things that have nothing to do with a deep, intense emotional connection. Like I have to say, and I can only speak from my own experience, but I've heard this from other people too. When you meet your person, it should not, and sure, there are exceptions to every rule, but in my opinion, the exception in my head is like Eileen Davidson and her husband. It should not be this like deep, dark, sexy secret, like shrouded in drama. Like, I just don't think so. Like, I think it should be pretty simple. I think it should be pretty easy. I don't think that raw sexual chemistry should necessarily be the first thing. I think the first thing when you meet your person should be a like feeling of like safety and comfortability and like just this feeling of like, I'm loving talking with you and I want to continue this conversation. Like, I really think it should be that simple. And so I'm like, PSA to Amanda Batula and anyone who thinks like, wow, like this is my person because it just feels so visceral and intense. I'm like, I think me and a lot of psychologists would not agree with that sentiment. Then Lindsay instructs her to work on her self-worth and not needing it from a man. Amanda claims it was the conversations she was into, not the physical touch. Amanda and Wes love talking about their conversations and the conversations and the conversations about conversations. I'm fucking exhausted. She blames it on the fact that she hasn't dated since she was 24. And Lindsay's like, great, go do that. Like date, get some life experience so that you don't continue to make fucked up decisions like this. And Lindsay's like, he's already out there embarrassing you. You know who he was on the phone with this morning? Miha. He fucked Miha in March. And Amanda just goes, mm-hmm. And Lindsay's like, he cheated on you. And he cheated on her. And Amanda's like, yeah. And Lindsay's like, imagine fucking up so bad that we all forgot what a bad husband Kyle was to you. And Amanda's like, yeah. And Lindsay's like, you blew up your life when you were winning. And I hope that makes you angry because it should make you angry. And Amanda's like, yeah, I have a lot of feelings. And Amanda says she just wants to be loved, and she fought for that with Kyle, and she just felt it so much from West. And she says she feels stupid, and Lindsay's like, to be honest, you should feel stupid. And the only way to save yourself in this moment is to separate yourself from the sinking ship that is West Wilson. Be the rose on the Titanic. Let go of the hand. He's got to go. And Amanda's like, I know. And you can tell at the end of this conversation that it was just wasted air, where I'm like, you can tell that Amanda has no intentions of separating from West anytime soon. And I'm just like, if she can't come to her senses after an honest conversation with Hubhouse, then like I no one can help her. She can't help herself. She's a lost fucking cause. And again, it's so frustrating. I don't care to see it at this point. Like I want to like mute all the Bravo accounts, mute West and Amanda. Actually, I'm not following them, but like mute anyone adjacent to those two, because I really can't look at it anymore. It's not even fun. And I think it's just like losers on parade. Moving along to West and Kyle's conversation, that was on May 20th. I just have to say West looked like such a tool in his outfit. Kyle, on the other hand, looked fucking great. Like somehow he continues to look better and better. And I genuinely like do not like blondes. And I've said it before, but I'll say it again. I've never once been attracted to Kyle in my life, but I just think he looks like so glowy and healthy and handsome without looking like he's like filled or pulled. And it's very impressive. Like I really think he should pivot Loverboy to be like a skincare line if all else fails, because he looks great. I'm like, how does this man at the age of like 40 something drink that much and look that good? I need to know. Also, the fact that their dog was all over West. I was like, Reese or Ryder, whichever one you are, honey, angel, sweet puppy, I need you to read the fucking room. Also, to kick things off, one of you flagged in my DMs that West uses the word fuck a lot, both on the show and on his podcast. And I hadn't noticed it, but now I can't unnotice it. Like, it's like a teenager discovering a swear word for the first time. It's clearly like a filler word. And this listener said, and I agree, like this listener was like, I love dropping an F-bomb, but like it really annoyed me how much he used it. And I was like, honestly, I can't unnotice it. Like it feels icky how much he does it. And obviously I love swearing too, but it was just to me like fucking. And it's because he does not feel bad and he doesn't know how to form a sentence. And he is truly out of words to describe his fake remorse at this point. So he's like, he gets why his word is bullshit now. Again, I don't think we got anything out of this. He knows that he's lied so much, but he's there to have a floppy air quote honest conversation with Kyle. And Kyle just like seemed grossed out by West and everything he stands for. Like he's grossed out how touchy he is with girls. And he's like, that's inappropriate. You have to understand that. And West is like, well, you know, like I was really trying to make it clear that like I wasn't into Sierra. Like, you know, we went to a Giants game, but like separately, and like she asked for my address after, and like I didn't give it to her, and like I went to her birthday dinner because like I wanted to like be a good friend, but then like I didn't go out after. Like I went home, and like I want to think that she noticed that I tried to do the right thing a handful of times. And Kyle's just like, well, you know, you can't do that. You got to do it like 100%, not 98, because, you know, you guys have a complicated relationship. I will say I thought it was funny during this conversation that Kyle was like, I mean, I made mistakes in my relationship, but I've never had a secret girlfriend. And I'm like, you guys, it's like the blind leading the blind. Like, Kyle, you were not a good husband. West, you're a disaster. But like Kyle, in a lot of ways, you have been up until this point a disaster. So it's like, sure, Kyle, you didn't have a secret girlfriend. You were making out with other girls while you were actively married. Like, please. Moving right along, West says he used ambiguity for communication and that that's not fair. Like he said to Miha that he wasn't going to come meet her family on Christmas instead of just flat out saying, I don't want to date you. And it's like, so you were leading her on. Like using ambiguity for communication is a long-winded way of saying that you were leading her on. And then Kyle expresses concern for Amanda's well-being, and Kyle's like, she hasn't been single yet. I think she could really benefit from some time to focus on herself. And West, of course, is like, you know, I agree with you. And that's a conversation we've had multiple times because we know West and Amanda love a conversation about a conversation. But Amanda's answer has always been the same. And I just want to say from my own experience, when you hate yourself, you are never, ever going to slow down or be alone long enough to sit with yourself and your thoughts, because being in motion, staying busy, getting attention from a guy is always going to be a lot more fun and a lot easier than forcing yourself to sit alone and stare at the wall and unpack your fucking shit and get to know yourself on a real deep level. So I get that. And that's not me justifying Amanda's behavior. That's me being like, oh, girl, like this isn't going to stop until you do that, you know? Whether it's West or someone else, this isn't going to stop until she does that. So Kyle says he's worried that West is going to break Amanda's heart. And West says he knows he won't be able to convince Kyle that he's a changed man, but this is the first relationship he's had where it came from, quote, a 3-year friendship and there's nothing performative about it and no one's trying to prove anything. And I was like, Jake clocked this too. It's like, so your relationships with Sierra and Mija were performative? So like you use women of color? And for what reason exactly? Like clout? Some sort of, in your mind, like fucked up like street cred? Like what are you fucking talking about? And then he says he does not regret his feelings for Amanda and developing feelings and caring about her. And then Kyle's like, he flat out was like, are you ready to settle down and be in a committed relationship where you're faithful? And I'm like, Kyle, that's rich coming from you, but okay. And West is like, yeah. And Kyle's like, do you love her? And West is like, fucking, I said I love you that night. Like that night I left your guys' room to her. I really care about her a fuck ton. If I ruined my life for a man and someone asked, do you love her? And he said, yeah, I do. And then stuttered his way through saying, I really care about her a fuck ton. I would need to be 51-50. Like, again, last week on the reunion when they're like, Amanda, was it worth it? And she couldn't answer it. It's like, at least maybe they're on the same page of like not knowing how to talk about their feelings for each other. But it's like, I would hope that if I set my life on fire to be with a guy, that he would be like, I fucking love her and she is my person. Because otherwise, like, what the fuck are we all doing here? Moving on, Kyle acknowledges that he has love for her, but they haven't been in love for years, which I thought was funny because there was that super cringe, uncomfortable scene on In the City last week where Amanda's like, are you in love with me? Are you in love with me? Are you in love with me? And Kyle's just like, hee hee hee, and like doesn't know how to answer. And I'm like, what a dumpster fire. And Wes says he's not at the point with her himself where he said he's in love with her, but he loves her and has cared about her for a very, very long time. So again, another West Wilson word salad where he says just enough, but also nothing at all. And then Wes tells Kyle that he hopes he can prove to him that the way he cares about her is like healthy and that, you know, Kyle has nothing to worry about and that Wes isn't some asshole who doesn't care about anything. And Kyle looks so disgusted by all this. He makes this face that's like it looks like he smelled poop. And Wes acknowledges that he appreciates Kyle's voice memos, even though they're long and rambly. And I'm like, you're one to talk, West, given that like you have spoken so much and yet not enough. And you have not said one cohesive, intelligent sentence given how many minutes we've been forced to listen to you attempt to put a coherent thought together. Kyle cries, and he also says that West owes an apology to Mija, and West's like, yeah, well, I've owed, unfortunately, a lot of people apologies. Cut to Sierra and Mija's conversation. This scene honestly really annoyed me. I was pissed off by the end. First of all, Mija arrives at Sierra's apartment. They sit down. They talk. Mija says it was tough for her to see Sierra and West kiss on the show, but she doesn't blame Sierra for any of that. We find out that over the summer, she would just like chill at West's apartment on the weekends while he was filming, and she'd like build furniture for him and decorate. And I just felt like this whole conversation was so awkward and felt like forced. Like I thought the girls, like all things considered, did a good job being there for each other. And like, of course, like women supporting women. Like I love that. I get that. But it just like kind of felt like Mija like and Sierra wouldn't have organically been friends, and that they were kind of like trying really hard to be like, yeah, girl, totally, I support you. And that's like not their fault. Like this whole thing is inherently so awkward. But like Mija did piss me off. So she reveals that she typically gives partners a long leash. And I was like, okay. And I just want to say, speaking from my own experience, when Jake and I first started dating, there were some girls in his orbit who really pissed me off. And you know what I did? I had a mental breakdown and I said, fucking handle it. I said, handle it. If I'm going to be with you, none of this is my job. Handle it. They're being inappropriate. I understand that that's, quote, not your fault, but to some degree it is, because they can't feel like it's okay to act that way around you at all, especially not when I'm there. So handle it. So the fact that Mija's like, yeah, I just like, I'm not really that kind of girl. I like to give guys a long leash, you know, like I trust them. I was like, okay, the pick me alarm is like going off. Like the pick me alarm is sounding in my head. And then she says that they hadn't spoken for a few weeks, but after the reunion, he texted her, "You win," which is freak behavior on West's part. And it's like, you win for what? And Sierra clarifies, like, you win because people knew about you now. And Miha's like, yeah. And Sierra's like, there was evidence of your relationship. And then we get footage from the last summer where Jesse is like, shut up about not trying to date anyone. I see your girl's name pop up on your phone all the time. She sounds fabulous. I'd love to meet her. And then we get another flashback where West is like, ay Dios mío. And Jesse goes, how is Miha? And West goes, probably good. And I didn't love that, like, the bouncing ball in Jesse's head was like, West said, ay Dios mío. And he's like, how is Miha? Like, I was like, that's a weird snippet of the conversation that made me a little uncomfortable. And then we find out that after the you win text, West called Miha a week later after the reunion, and they talked on the phone for 6 hours. 6 hours. And Miha says that, quote, a lot of our conversations are now over phone call because of her. And I'm like, okay. Why are you talking on the phone for 6 hours? And the fact that she's like, most of our conversations, you should be having 0 conversations. You should be having no conversations. You should be blocking him. Why are you having any conversations, much less 6-hour conversations? And then, like, I have concern. I have to express concern for Sierra's discernment at this point, because between West, Sabrina's weird ass, and now Miha, I'm like, Sierra, are you not annoyed by this? Like, are you not concerned that after all the conversations you and Miha had leading up to that reunion, that Miha is now having 6-hour conversations with him? And she's like, yeah, you just like can't turn feelings off, you know? And Sierra's like, well, I applaud you on not blocking him. And I'm like, why? You should be judging her for not blocking him. Like, huh? And I'm like, you guys, for the love of Pete, like, West and Amanda are like, it's like saying Bloody Mary 3 times in the mirror. Like, we need to stop saying their names so that they fall into obscurity and we don't have to deal with them anymore. Like, stop giving them attention. West is the type of guy that, good or bad, he thrives off attention. Miha, like, what are you doing? You need Lindsay to give you a sit down too. I'm pissed. And Sierra thinks it's weird that, like, West is still taking advice from Miha while he's, like, happily dating Amanda. And they're basically both, like, Sierra and Miha are judging West for that. And again, I'm like, where's the judgment for Miha? Because it takes 2 to tango, honey. And then he told Miha he was going to Italy. And she's like, that's great. Like, go be with your family. Go be with the people who love you. And then she finds out he's going with Amanda. And she's like, that was just, like, a fuck you to everyone involved. And I was like, why are you still involved? Why are you still involved? And I'm trying to hold space because I'm like, I know we've all been, like, hung up on a guy who, like, truly would not care if we got run over by a bus. Like, trust me, that was like most of my 20s. But, like, come on. He humiliated you on TV. He kept you a secret. Like, enough. Do not pick up his phone calls. Do not give him the time of day. Block him from Instagram. He does not deserve to have access to you or your life. Like, come on. Grow up. And Sierra's like, yeah, I mean, if he's in such a happy relationship, why is he still calling you? And they both giggle about how, like, secret sex is hot. And I'm like, girls, you're both too hot and have too much going for you to be saying this in your 30s. They were both turned on by being kept a secret. And I was like, is it hot or are we a bit insecure? And I'm not saying that in a judgmental, I'm saying in a judgmental way towards Miha. But as far as Sierra goes, I'm like, you do not deserve to be kept a secret. And I also think it's worth reflecting on if you want to keep you having sex with West a secret, not from the public at large, but like from your friends and from people on the show. Like, if you feel the need to keep it a secret, then maybe you shouldn't be doing it because you know it's not good for you. And I want to give Sierra a hug, and Miha, I want to sit her down with Hubhouse and be like, Hubhouse, I'm sorry, I need you to tap in again because 6-hour conversations after everything he put her through is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And then it ends with, like, both of them giggling about how they both liked being a secret and they thought it was hot, but they weren't actually in on it, even though they thought they were. And like, LOL. And Miha admits that she has to sever the cord. And I'm like, you think? And Sierra raises a toast to gossip and to moving on and to having a better summer. And they agree to just make it fun and light and airy. And then they laugh over being petty. And Sierra's mom, I guess, was like, you got to get off Threads. And she was like, no, I don't. And I just want to do a little cartwheel here and there. And I'm like, do your thing. I support it. But again, West and Amanda are Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. Don't say it in a mirror. Don't say it at all. We got to keep their names out of our lexicon moving forward. It's the only way. It's the only way to heal. And they're happy to be trauma bonded in a cool way. They're like, West and Amanda are trauma bonded in like a fucked up way, but we're trauma bonded in a cute way, and we should kiss courtside. And they toast, and it's like the end. And we're all trauma bonded together, right? As the Summer House audience, we're all trauma bonded for life. There was like a last like 10 seconds after Miha and Sierra toasted where they like panned back to the Hamptons. And Jake and I were like, I swear to God, if there's more, like I'm going to break my TV. But luckily there wasn't. And I know that I sound like a hater. And I want to make it clear to Bravo and anyone from Bravo listening that I love Bravo and I love this show. But the lack of accountability from West and Amanda became so infuriating that I'm just exhausted and I'm happy to move on. I'm really happy to move on. But we did it, you guys. Like that is Summer House. That is this season of Summer House. We are done. We're free. I feel like Nicole Kidman in that picture after she divorced Tom Cruise where she's like, woo! Like I feel like I took a shit. I feel amazing. So with that being said, let's get ready to get back to our regularly scheduled programming. I'm so excited. I don't even know what we're going to talk about next week. Isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? In the Ina Garten voice. And isn't that fun? I had a friend say that to me in a text recently. She was like, parentheses, Ina Garten voice. Isn't that fun? And I was like, I laughed. So shout out to Alice. I'm stealing that. Okay, let's get into Hannah's Hot Girl Corner first. Hannah's Hot Girl Corner for this week is laser hair removal. I got laser hair removal on my armpits yesterday. And let me just say, I've been actively sugaring my armpits for a year. And the cost difference to like upkeep armpit hair removal versus like laser hair removal that actually lasts, crazy. I pay $59 every time I get my armpits sugared, which is about once a month. I paid $25 to get my armpits lasered yesterday. Wowee, this is living. I was thrilled. Okay, I was thrilled. And it didn't hurt that bad at all. It was like zzz, zzz, zzz. And I was like, is that done? She's like, yep, other armpit. I was like, okay. She's like, zzz, zzz, zzz. I was like, all right, let's go. Now I'm like, I want to get my bikini done. I'm like, pass over that waiver. Let's do it. Show me to me, please. Send it to me, Rachel. So Hannah's Hot Girl Corner of the Week, laser hair removal. And it's not for everyone. Like there's all this kinds of stuff with like the laser basically picks up on pigment. So the ideal candidate is a pale person with dark hair. So obviously if you're looking into laser hair removal, like don't take my word for it. I'm not a doctor. Do your research. But less painful than sugaring and cheaper than sugaring. So sign me the fuck up. Next, let's get into grow up. First of all, grow up Miha for having 6-hour conversations with West. Obviously grow up West and Amanda. Grow up Kyle. Stop making out with other girls while you're married. Sierra, do your thing. Do your thing. This week's grow up is inspired by something that happened this morning. And it's when you're unnecessarily nice to someone when you don't have to be and they're rude to you. That person needs to grow up. Here's what happened to me this morning. Jake and I were walking Monty. Monty does not do well with other dogs. This guy with his small dog was walking by us on the sidewalk and they kind of like came around the corner and we didn't really have time to like fully cross the street. So we like, Jake tightened up Monty's leash and gave him some training treats because we'll like distract Monty from the other dogs by giving him training treats so that he doesn't like lunge at them. And so Jake's like, whoop, and like pulls Monty in really quick, gives him the training treats. Everything goes fine. We're like, Monty, be good. Monty, be good. The guy and his dog walk by. Well, and they like don't really acknowledge us at all. Jake drops an extra thing of bags, like an extra roll of bags from his dog walking fanny pack. And he's like, oh, shoot, babe. Like, can you go back and get that while I pick up Monty's poop? And I'm like, sure. So I go back and it's right next to the guy and his little dog that we had just walked past. And I pick up the bags and I go, sorry. And the guy just looks at me. And it was like, I didn't know why I felt like I had to say sorry. Like maybe it was because it was like, oh, I know me and my dramatic dog just walked by, but like, oops, I dropped something. It was just a polite, like, sorry. And he just looked at me and like didn't smile, didn't acknowledge me at all. Just kind of looked at me like, what the fuck are you talking about? To which I say, grow up. Like if someone is unnecessarily nice to you, give them a smile. Give them you're good. Give them like a little affirmation. I once had an Orange Theory coach be like, if you smile at someone and they don't smile at you, you're not weird, they're weird. And that's how I feel about it. Like if someone extends a pleasantry to you, don't just look at them stone-faced. It's freak behavior and it's bad manners, and you need to grow the fuck up. That's all for me today, y'all. Thank you so much for listening. We went long today. It's because I talked about unhinged body image issues for like a half hour. But I do think summer is triggering, and I hope I'm not alone in that. If you love this episode, please leave a rating and a review. Share it with a friend. Post it on Instagram. It all helps. It all helps. And thank you all so much for your kind messages. I really can't explain how much it means to hear from you in DMs or via email, whatever. If you ever want to email the show, email me, get in touch for whatever reason. Email me at notaspirationalpod@gmail.com. And you can watch full episodes on YouTube whenever you want. And if you don't follow me already, follow me at Hannah Aaron Brown on Instagram and TikTok. I think that's all for me. Y'all, thank you so much for listening. You're literally the best. I love you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you soon. Bye.